Bouldin Creek may be one of the worst neighborhoods in Austin for the buyer who wants the most house for their money. And it may be one of the best neighborhoods in Austin for the buyer who wants actual life to feel better every day. That's exactly what we're answering today. Is living in Bouldin Creek, Austin, really worth the price? Because here you're not necessarily getting a bigger house, a bigger yard, certainly not a 3-car garage. What you're paying for is the ability to walk to coffee, get to Lady Bird Lake in minutes, head to First Street or SoCo for activities and live music, and live in just one of the few neighborhoods that still resonates as true Austin. But there is a catch here. You can be 2 blocks away and have a completely different vibe. One could be feeling tucked back, secluded, and private, and the other could be noisy and super busy. So it's really important to have someone in there to help you figure out exactly what's best for you. I know this neighborhood personally because I've lived in the area, and it is absolutely one of my favorite neighborhoods in town. And thinking about it today, I think I need to get back to it. Hi, I'm Nicole Cooper, UT Golf alum and real estate expert, and I've been helping people buy and sell in the Austin area for over 15 years. So if you're looking for lifestyle and location, you're in the right spot. All you have to do is get our information right here. Phone number, call us, text us, send us an email, set up a Zoom call. We are always available to help you find that perfect home that matches your lifestyle. Now today, in this video, by the end, you will know exactly what it feels like to live in Bouldin Creek. I'm gonna tell you the types of houses, the nearby hotspots, the schools, and everything else in between so that you know if it's worth paying the premium. So let's start with the map. Once you see where it's located, you will understand things a lot more. Here we go. Okay, so downtown Austin right here, Bouldin Creek just to the south of the river. As we zoom in here, you can see why this part of town is so uber cool. On the north end, you front Lady Bird Lake and Auditorium Shores. And then you have on the west side, you have Lamar, you have First Street running through the center of it, and you have South Congress on the other. So you are right in the thick of all things South Austin entertainment. And this is one of the reasons this area commands a premium, because you can live almost like you're living in downtown, but still have a house and a yard. Sure, there are some condos in this area, and we're gonna give you some examples of that here in a minute, but this, you can get actual beautiful homes in here and have that walkable, bikeable lifestyle right by downtown. But keep in mind, there is a difference between living deep in the neighborhood and living on the edges. And we're gonna go through that today so you can tell the difference and make sure you don't make the mistake of buying something in one of those busy areas if you don't particularly like busy. Now that you understand location, let's talk about what kind of neighborhood this actually is and why buyers are paying a premium to be there. Here we go. So Bouldin Creek is one of our oldest neighborhoods, especially in South Austin. It's not a master plan community, no cookie cutter. You have cute little restaurants in here like Bouldin Creek Cafe, a vegetarian restaurant, and I'll go through more hot spots later in the video, but this is just what you can expect to find there. Eclectic, one-off mom and pop shops, no master plan community feel at all, no 2 houses look the same. So it's just kind of, you know, we used to have this saying called keep Austin weird. Well, Austin is less weird than it used to be for sure, as a lot of people migrate into the area. However, this part of town is still very much keep Austin weird. So let's talk about those houses themselves, because this is where Bouldin Creek gets really interesting. The types of homes you're going to find in the Bouldin Creek little neighborhood community range from old bungalows to brand new, large new construction. The bungalows were built in the 50s, 60s, 70s, and by bungalow, it used to be like a 2-bedroom, 1-bathroom house, very small, 1-story, pier and beam kind of foundation. And what that means is no concrete slab, it's built up off the ground. And over time, a lot of these homes have been remodeled because it was simpler and cheaper to remodel than to build new. And now we have a lot of developers coming in, they're raising the lots and building new construction. So you could have one of these old little bungalows right next to a $3 million, 3,000 square foot house. So here are some examples that are on the market right now. This little house here, originally built in 1950. It's a 3-bed, 2-bath home now at 1674 square feet. So one could assume that this one has been added on to over time. Check out this little home here. You can see that exterior look of the 50s. And as we go through to the inside, it will have such unique features. We just didn't build houses the same in the 50s as we do today. So you're gonna find a lot of quirky shapes, textures, finish outs all throughout Bouldin. And just look, they've got the modern fan in here and then this wall here with the fireplace. I'd venture to guess that at one point that was an exterior wall and they've added on around it. So that is very typical in Bouldin Creek to find something that has been added onto, changed, fixed up. And many times the floor plan doesn't make sense when people do this because, well, it didn't start with that plan in mind. They either added something on the back, added something on the top, went out a little bit more sideways, and sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Up next in this part of town, you can get a little condo. This one was built in 2018, listed for $475,000. It's just under 800 square feet. So you want that urban lifestyle, don't need a yard, maybe don't have a pet, you can get one of these guys for a lot less money. Shared walls equals less privacy equals lower price point. Then we jump up to this one here. It was built in 2017, 2116 square feet. This type of home is pretty common for the newer construction. This big boxy design in the late teens and early 20s, this was very common. Thankfully, they're moving out of this boxy design. I mean, you may love it, that's totally fine. You can find one here. I'm not too fond of just the big box on top of the box. But anyway, this is going to put you over that $1 million price point when you get just a little bit bigger size. And then lastly, this one here is 2560 square feet, built in 2022. You can actually get yourself a pool at this price. So as you can see, none of the square feet on average are over 3,000. If you have a large family, it is very difficult to find a home big enough in this part of town for that large family. If you do, it's most likely going to be over 3 million and going up from there because homes just aren't this big in Bouldin because the lots are small and there's a lot of permitting activity. The city of Austin is very strict with their permit allowance and how big you can build on a certain lot. So don't expect really large homes in this part of town. So when you give up that extra space, people are generally giving it up because they prefer the mature trees in the area, walkable streets, front porches, downtown views, individuality. They don't all look the same. There's no cookie cutters here. And then, you know, sometimes you can get these modern homes in there that don't have the cookie cutter feel either. So that is why people will forego the larger house to have more lifestyle. Well, let's call it Austin lifestyle anyway. Now let's talk about those remodels. If you are buying a remodeled home, there are some things to really check out on the front end. You work with us, you don't have to worry about this, but think about the exact block. Is the survey on the lines of the block? This part of town, some of the surveys aren't where the fences are. It's kind of funky. How much commercial activity is nearby? Is the street traffic too much? Is there any parking on the street? A lot of this area has residential permit parking. Not a big deal, but you just need to know about it. Drainage. There are some creeks that run through here, so you want to make sure you don't edge in that floodplain or even close enough to where if the floodplain were to expand, you'd get in that floodplain. We don't want to deal with that. And on these homes that have been remodeled, the permit history is public information. You need to go onto the public city website and make sure all the permits have been closed out and they've been gotten. Sometimes people do this big work and they don't even get it permitted. That's a problem. Sometimes they get it permitted, but they don't get it closed out, meaning they applied for the permit, but then when they finish the work, they didn't have the city inspector come back and check it off. These are big items that you want to make sure the seller completes before you take on that responsibility. It can be an expensive mistake. And lastly, you're checking the foundation and the sewer lines on these older homes because it's all under the house and it can get really expensive if you have to replace it all the way to the street. Now that you know what kind of houses you can find here, let's jump over to the fun things and hot spots that you can get to in a minute. So as we look at the Bouldin Creek neighborhood here, one of the coolest parts, of course, is the access to Town Lake, Lady Bird Lake, Auditorium Shores. Auditorium Shores is where we have Reggae Festival and many other festivals. Here's kind of an aerial view of it. There's a leash-free dog area that you can let your dogs loose. You can let your dogs swim in the pond. We have the Stevie Ray Vaughan statue down there. One thing to note, in the summer, sometimes we have this algae in the water and it actually is toxic to dogs. So be very, very, very careful. Watch the news. Make sure you know what's happening in that Lady Bird Lake before you let your dogs in there, because the last thing we want to do is you think that it's super cool and safe and then you go in there and your dog gets into that algae. So just know that. Otherwise, it's a wonderful place to hang out. They have this little pavilion here. You can get under there and have a picnic and relax. In addition to Auditorium Shores, you're not too far from Butler Pitch and Putt. You know, we've always got to talk about golf in our videos because that is what we do. So here we go. So just inside Lamar, south of Riverside Drive, Butler Pitch and Putt. It's the cutest little 9-hole par 3 course you ever saw, right downtown. Everyone hangs out. Look at this. This is where everyone hangs out while you're waiting for your tee times, because there are no tee times. You just get in line and go and play. And they allow tinsoms, dogs, no shoes. It's just a really fun spot right there next to Bouldin Creek. In addition, if you keep on hopping over more to the west here, you're going to get to the Zilker Park, Zilker Botanical Gardens. Zilker is where we have the ACL Music Festival, and then we of course have Barton Springs Pool, which is not far away. This is one of our crown jewels of the city. Temperatures warm all year round. It stays the same temperature, around 72 degrees, so people swim in the winter and the summer. It's open until the evening hours. I think the last hour you get in free, otherwise it's a few bucks to get in there and enjoy the day, but one of the main standouts in this part of town. Now those are the park areas. We could go into restaurants for days. South Lamar, First Street, and South Congress are just covered with restaurants, starting with Terry Black's Barbecue up here to the north. We have Uchi, which is one of the premier sushi restaurants in town. Odd Duck, Ramen Tatsuya. We hop over to First Street. We've got Fressa's, Polvo's. Over on Congress, Abba, Home Slice, Perla's, June's, the list goes on. Let's talk live music on Congress. We've got the Continental Club, a small spot with some of the best, most quaint music in town, because look at this is how close you get to the stage. It's super cool. All the greats have played there. And then over on the west side, on the Lamar side, we have Saxon Pub again. Small little spot. You get right up to the band. There's no bad seat in the house. All the greats have played there too. So you're right in the middle of all that entertainment right there in Bouldin Creek. And that's just one of the many reasons that people love to live in that area. For so many people, a typical weekend day, will you start walking your dog over to the coffee shop? Maybe you bike over to Lady Bird Lake for some exercise. You have lunch at one of these many, many wonderful restaurants. Then you spend Barton Springs on the hillside at the creek there going swimming. Then you have dinner at one of these downtown, or not downtown, but one of these SoCo or South First or Lamar restaurants. And then from there, you hop over to one of the live music venues, Continental Club or Saxon Pub. I mean, that is a day for Bouldin Creek in a nutshell. If that sounds interesting to you, comment below. I'd love to know if this is your vibe. Now that you know the hot spots in the area, we're going to talk quickly about schools, and there is just a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of moving parts here because I wanted to show you the map. See, here is Bouldin Creek, and this side of the area goes into Travis Early College, and this side goes into Austin High. And here's what makes the difference. If you're feeding into Austin High, you get an 89 out of 100. If you're feeding into Travis Early College, it's a 70 out of 100. So the school zones are quite important in the neighborhood. If we hop to the middle schools, one side goes to O. Henry, the other side goes to Lively. Again, pretty big discrepancy in grades with an 89 for O. Henry and a 77 for Lively. And lastly, for the elementary schools, if you're in the heart of Bouldin, you do flow into Becker Elementary. To the west, it's Zilker Elementary. To the east, it's Travis Heights Elementary. So if these boundaries are important to you, you need to make sure that you check them before you purchase. They do change. Some of our schools have been combining our budget. We've had some budget problems in the city of Austin. But just to give you an example, just to give you the grades on these guys, Becker Elementary gets an 81 out of 100. That's the one right in the center. Travis Heights to the east gets an 85 out of 100. And then Zilker Elementary gets an 89 out of 100. So just take note where the boundaries are, how they flow for whichever house you're trying to buy if you have little kiddos that are about to start school and will be heading into one of these elementaries. Now let's get to the part that really determines whether Bouldin Creek is worth it for you, the pros and the cons. First of all, pro number one, you are connected to the heartbeat of the city. Pro number two, walkability and convenience to all things Austin. Pro number three, character and personality galore. And lastly, it has strong long-term location appeal because they're not making any more dirt. Everything's not moving further from Austin. If you want to get in there, you've got to buy something that already exists. Now, it's not all sunshine and puppies. What are those cons? Well, first of all, it is the price. You're paying a high dollar per square foot to be in this area, and you're not going to find any huge, big houses. Most of the homes in there are older, and there's kind of inconsistent inventory. You kind of never know what you're going to find. You got to be very patient if you're looking for something super particular in this part of town. Con number three, it can get really busy in that part of town, especially during our festivals. You'll notice that there's a lot of street parking. Some of the houses don't even have a driveway, or much less a garage. So it's a busy, busy part of town. If you want everybody to be parked off the street in the garage, this isn't the right one for you. So after living in this area and helping buyers move here for years and years, this is actually for someone who prefers location over maximum square footage. I think we've covered that plenty today. Someone who genuinely enjoys walking around and getting to things without a car. And someone who wants that character and individuality, not that big master plan feel. You're not going to have the big resort, lazy river swimming pool. You're going to have the actual city of Austin quirky things to do nearby. So tell me, is this neighborhood for you? So I can't wait to get back to this neighborhood myself. How does it fit for you? Is it the winner? If you want to see some homes in the neighborhood in person, give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, or set up a Zoom call. We are always available to help you find the perfect home that matches your lifestyle. Until next time, be kind to yourself and others. I can't wait to see you around town.